Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of 2 Samuel, the 19th chapter. And as we went into in the 18th chapter, the war between, or the battle between Absalom and King David and his armies, and in which Absalom ends up being put to death by the hand of Joab. And we end off the chapter with the news being brought to David as he laments for Absalom. So this is 2 Samuel 19:1. And it was told Joab, Behold, the king weepeth and mourneth for Absalom. And the victory that day was turned into mourning unto all the people. For the people heard say that the king, or say that day, how the king was grieved for his son. So rather than feeling like a victory, it felt more like a mourning. And the people gat them by stealth that day into the city, as people being ashamed steal away when they flee in battle. So rather than coming into the city victorious, they basically came in almost like with their heads down, not wanting to be seen, as though they had like fled or deserted or had to retreat in the battle. But the king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, My son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son. And Joab came into the house to the king, and said, Thou hast shamed this day the faces of all thy servants, which this day have saved thy life, and the lives of thy sons and of thy daughters, and the lives of thy wives, and the lives of thy concubines, in that thou lovest thine enemies and hatest thy friends. So you're you're behaving like you love your enemies more than your friends. For thou hast declared this day that thou regardest neither princes nor servants for this day. I perceive that if Absalom had lived, and all we had died this day, then it had pleased thee well. So from the way you're acting, it looks like you would have been happy if all of us died and Absalom lived instead. Now therefore arise, go forth, and speak comfortably unto thy servants. For I swear by the Lord Yahweh, if thou go not forth, there will not tarry one with thee this night, and that will be worse unto thee than all the evil that befell thee from thy youth until now. So you better go out there and exhort your men who went and risked their lives for you, and now you're mourning about one who became an enemy unto all of us, as though it was better if he lived and we all died. And if you don't go talk to them, we basically gonna desert you. And the king arose and sat in the gate, and they told unto all the people, saying, Behold, the king doth sit in the gate. And all the people came before the king, for Israel had fled every man to his tent. So when they came back, they all just went to their tents or their dwelling places. But having heard that the king was come out, they all came there. And all the people were at strife throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, The king saved us out of the hand of our the hand of our enemies, and he delivered us out of the hand of the Philistines, and now he is fled out of the hand of Absalom. And Absalom, who we appointed over us, is dead in battle. Now therefore, why speak ye not a word of bringing the king back? So this was sort of the internal strife that was going on between, the heads of Israel, saying, well, we had David as king, then we set up Absalom. Now Absalom is dead and nobody's mentioning bringing David back. So now what are we doing here? And King David sent to Zadok and to Abiathar the priest, saying, Speak unto the elders of Judah, saying, Why are ye the last to bring the king back to his house? Seeing the speech of all Israel is come to the king, even to his house. So all the other tribes, are basically inquiring of me coming back. And you, Judah, of whom I was first, anointed king over, why are you the last to to come in and basically welcome me back. Ye are my brethren, ye are my bones and my flesh. Wherefore then are ye the last to bring back the king? I mean, I'm literally from your tribe. So why are you the last to come in and welcome me back? And say ye to Amasa, art thou not of my bone and of my flesh? God do so to me, and more also, if thou be not captain of the host before me continually in the room of Joab. Now remember, Absalom had placed Amasa, basically replaced Joab with Amasa, right? And David said here that he will confirm that and keep it as such, in that when it says, art thou not of my bone and of my flesh, it's to say that are we not family? And so, the basically David was vowing here that he would keep Amasa in that position. And he bowed the heart of all the men of Judah, even as the heart of one man. So they sent this word unto the king, being Amasa. After hearing this, he basically got all of those of Judah to send word, as it says, unto the king, return thou and all thy servants, to request him to come back. So the king returned and came to Jordan, and Judah came to Gilgal to go to meet the king, to conduct the king over Jordan, i.e., to help bring him across. And Shimei, the son of Gera, a Benjamite, which was of Bahurim, hasted, and came down with the men of Judah to meet King David. And there were 1,000 men of Benjamin with him, and Ziba, the servant of the house of Saul, and his 15 sons, and his 20 servants with him. And they went over Jordan before the king. So they went right there to try and help and assist David and those that were with him across the Jordan back. And there went over a ferry boat to carry over the king's household and to do what he thought good, so to help him in any way they could. And Shimei, the son of Gera, fell down before the king as he was come over Jordan, and said unto the king, O let not my lord impute iniquity unto me, neither do thou remember that which thy servant did perversely the day that my lord the king went out of Jerusalem, that the king should take it to his heart. Now this was the same Shimei that was cursing at David, throwing stones and so on and so forth. And so here now he's now he's begging for his life, asking David to forgive him. For thy servant doth know that I have sinned. Therefore, behold, I am come. See, look, I'm the first one. I'm one of the first people to come and welcome you. I am come the first this day of all the house of Joseph to go down to meet my lord the king. But Abishai the son of Zeruiah answered and said, Shall not Shimei be put to death for this, because he cursed the Lord's anointed? So, why is this guy still alive? Like, can't we just put him to death? And David said, What have I to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah? Then again, right? So you back at it again. I told you already, like drop it. And ye should this day, or that ye should this day be adversaries unto me. Shall there any man be put to death this day in Israel? So here it is, like, you're trying, in your speech, it's adversarial to me. I don't want anybody to be put to death today. For do not I know that I am this day king over Israel? Being that I'm welcome back to Judah, this isn't a day, for this. Okay, rather to celebrate, right? I'm back, baby. Verse 23. Therefore the king said unto Shimei, Thou shalt not die. And the king sware unto him. And Mephibosheth, the son of Saul, came down to meet the king, and had neither dressed his feet, nor trimmed his beard, nor washed his clothes, from the day that the king departed, until the day that he came again in peace. And it came to pass, when he was come to Jerusalem to meet the king, that the king said unto him, Mephibosheth, wherefore wentest thou not with me, Mephibosheth? So what happened? Why didn't you come with me? And he answered, My lord, O king, my servant deceived me. For thy servant said, I will saddle me an ass, that I may ride thereon, and go to the king, because thy servant is lame. So basically, Mephibosheth says, I wanted to, I planned to get an ass and basically come to you, but Ziba, which was a servant, basically deceived him. And he hath slandered thy servant unto my lord the king. But my lord the king is as an angel of God. Do therefore what is good in thine eyes. So basically, Ziba set me up and deceived me, and he came to you with all those presents and made it seem as though I didn't want to come to you. And remember, we read a couple chapters ago that Ziba was saying that, oh, Mephibosheth didn't come because he's trying to seek an opportunity to get the kingdom back to him, and so on and so forth. And here Mephibosheth is saying that's not actually the case. I really wanted to come to you, but he deceived me. um, so as he says here, you're as an angel of God, meaning like, when they say that, it meant like the Lord had blessed David with that wisdom, right? So he could discern, and have sound judgment. And that's why he's saying, do whatever you think is good in your eyes. For all of my father's house were but dead men before my lord the king. Yet didst thou set thy servant among them that did eat at thy own table. What right, therefore, have I yet to cry any more unto the king? So at most, I was expecting to be put to death. I mean, that's usually what happens when you became king, but you spared me and then, fed me, right? What more can I ask for? And the king said unto him, Why speakest thou any more of thy matters? I have said, Thou and Ziba divide the land. So my decision is, you and Ziba just divide the land. Don't worry about it. And Mephibosheth said unto the king, Yea, let him take all. He can just have it all. For as much as my lord the king is come again in peace unto his own house. Meaning I'm content, I'm satisfied with just knowing that you're good. You came back in peace. And Barzillai the Gileadite came down from Regalim and went over Jordan with the king to conduct him over Jordan, i.e. to like escort him. Now Barzillai was a very aged man, even 80 years old, so he was 80 years old. And he had provided the king of sustenance while he lay at Mahanaim, for he was a very great man. Meaning Barzillai had a lot of like substance, riches, and so on, which he provided to David while David and his men and his household were at Mahanaim. And the king said unto Barzillai, Come thou over with me, and I will feed thee with me in Jerusalem. And Barzillai said unto the king, How long have I to live, that I should go up with the king unto Jerusalem? I am this day 80 years old. And can I discern between good and evil? Can thy servant taste what I eat, or what I drink? I'm basically losing my taste. I can barely taste food. Can I hear any more the voice of singing men and singing women? I'm losing my hearing. Wherefore then should thy servant be yet a burden unto my lord the king? So it's all right. Don't take this old burden with you. Thy servant will go a little way over Jordan with the king. And why should the king recompense me with such a reward? So don't worry about it. I'll escort you across Jordan, but you don't have to reward me with this. Let thy servant, I pray thee, turn back again, that I may die in mine own city, and be buried by the grave of my father and of my brother. But behold, thy servant Chimham, let him go over with my lord the king, and do to him what shall seem good unto thee. Now, it doesn't make it clear. The scriptures don't say exactly who the servant was. He might have been just one of the servants of Barzillai, or he might have been maybe Barzillai's son. But he asked for favor and says, you know what? What you would have done for me, do for him instead. And the king answered, Chimham shall go over with me, and I will do to him that which shall seem good unto thee, and whatsoever thou shalt require of me, that will I do for thee. So whatever it is that you want me to do for him, I will do. And all the people went over Jordan, and when the king was come over, the king kissed Barzillai and blessed him, and he returned unto his own place. Then the king went on to Gilgal, and Chimham went on with him, and all the people of Judah conducted the king, and also half the people of Israel. Meaning they basically came to him and did their reverence and so on and so forth, helped him in whatever he needed. And behold, all the men of Israel came to the king and said unto the king, Why have our brethren the men of Judah stolen thee away, and have brought the king and his household and all David's men with him over Jordan? And all the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, Because the king is near of kin to us. Wherefore then be ye angry for this matter? Have we eaten at all of the king's cost? Or hath he given us any gift? So they were basically going back and forth, saying, like, why are they the ones who get to come and escort you and they didn't bring us along, and so on and so forth? And Judah replies, well, he's also of Judah. He's closer to us. And it's not like we're getting some reward or we're getting paid for this. It's not like you're missing out or anything. And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah and said, We have 10 parts in the king, and we have also more right in David than ye. So we got 10 tribes. So we got 10 times as much of a right to David than you. Why then did ye despise us, that our advice should not be first had in bringing back our king? And the words of the men of Judah were fiercer than the words of the men of Israel. Now, I'll read this in the NLT as well. It says, But there are 10 tribes in Israel, the others replied. So we have 10 times as much right to the king as you do. What right do you have to treat us with such contempt? Weren't we the first to speak of bringing him back to be our king? The argument continued back and forth, and the men of Judah spoke even more harshly than the men of Israel. And that brings us to the end of 2 Samuel, the 19th chapter. Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Recha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.